I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Technology Report. A hologram is a three-dimensional image, an image that appears to have height, width, and depth. More than 30 years ago, Princess Leia gave her famous holographic plea for help in the original Star Wars movie. Since then, holograms have become bigger, better, and more widely used. Now, researchers have developed a holographic telepresence system. Traditional telepresence systems are used in video conferencing. They present two-dimensional images. But the new system might be able to send a moving 3D image of a person over great distances and show it in close to real time. Nasser Pegambarian is the lead researcher for the project at the University of Arizona in Tucson. He says holographic technology can make people appear in places where they have never been. With the new system, the image is refreshed so often that it seems to look like a person's natural movement. An important part of the system is a screen that can refresh the holographic image every 2 seconds. The screen is made from a special photorefractive material. In experiments, the researchers placed 16 cameras in a half circle. They took pictures of people from different positions. Then, the researchers sent the images to a different place over the internet. Lasers at the other end received the pictures and produced holographs on the screen. Mr. Pegambarian says the new material permits the images to be continually written, erased, and replaced. He says every image that you want to show only takes 2 seconds to write it, and therefore the next image comes in after that. This allows this system to be used for telepresence, that an object in one location now can be transferred or can be shown in another location in 3D. He says the more cameras and the more pictures that are used, the more realistic the holographic image appears. The researchers imagine their technology being used for things like 3D maps and movies requiring no special glasses. Doctors could use it for telemedicine. But the researchers say their holographic telepresence system is still years away from completion. A report on the system appeared in the journal Nature. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. You can learn about other new uses for 3D technology at voaspecialenglish.com. We'll talk more about telepresence systems next week.
Special English Development Report. The World Health Organization is using a new combination of drugs to treat human African trypanosomiasis disease, also known as sleeping sickness. The drugs nifurtimox and eflornithine will be given out in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Officials from the Drugs for Neglected Diseases Initiative say the new treatment has fewer side effects. It is also more effective and less costly than the drugs traditionally used. In addition, the new treatment reduces the number of injections needed, and it shortens the amount of time patients must spend in the hospital. Sleeping sickness threatens millions of people in 36 countries in Africa. Most live in poor rural areas. The disease is caused by the trypanosoma parasite. It is spread to humans through the bite of infected tsetse flies. Common signs of sleeping sickness include fever, headaches, extreme tiredness and pain in the muscles and joints. Early identification of the disease may be difficult because many infected people do not show any immediate symptoms. Over time, the parasites invade the central nervous system. The disease causes sleep disorders, mental confusion, personality changes, speech problems, seizures, and coma. If left untreated, sleeping sickness kills. The World Health Organization estimates that about 60,000 people are currently infected with the disease. It develops in two different forms. Trypanosoma gambiense is responsible for 90% of the reported cases of sleeping sickness. People infected with this form may develop the disease over many years without any major symptoms. The disease develops more quickly over a few weeks or months in people infected with Trypanosoma rhodesiense. Until now, the drug melarsoprol was used to treat patients in the advanced stage of sleeping sickness. But the drug requires many painful injections several times a day for several weeks. It also causes bad side effects, some of which can be deadly. In Uganda, a new study has confirmed earlier research linking the spread of sleeping sickness to infected farm animals. The writers of the study have called for stronger rules requiring cattle to be treated before being sold at market. The study was published in the Public Library of Science. And that's the VOA Special English Development
This is the VOA
Report.
Special English Development Report. The World Health Organization has begun to use a new vaccine against polio. Officials say it will become a major tool in the campaign to end a disease that mainly affects children under age 5. The new formulation is known as BOPV, or bivalent oral polio vaccine. It was used for the first time in December in a polio immunization campaign in Afghanistan. Carol Pandak is with the Polio Plus program of the service organization Rotary International. She explains that health workers have been using what are called trivalent vaccines in some places. These are areas like Afghanistan where more than one kind of polio virus exists. There are 3 types of polio virus. The trivalent vaccine is least effective against type 3, more effective against type 1, and highly effective against type 2. As a result, few new cases of type 2 have been reported since 1999. This has led to greater use of monovalent vaccines to protect against either type 1 or type 3 polio. But Carol Pandak says the monovalent vaccine is not enough in areas with both kinds of polio. Rod Curtis at the World Health Organization in Geneva says the new bivalent vaccine solves this problem. Carol Pandak says tests found the new vaccine to be 30% more effective than the trivalent vaccine. More than 30 new cases of polio were reported in Afghanistan last year. About half were type 1 and the others type 3. Rod Curtis says that shows the importance of the new vaccine targeting both viruses at once. Officials say similar vaccination campaigns are planned this year in India, Nigeria, and Pakistan. Intensive vaccination campaigns have reduced the number of new polio cases reported worldwide to fewer than 2,000 a year. The Global Polio Eradication Initiative says the number has fallen by 99% since 1988. Polio is highly infectious. The virus enters the body through the mouth, usually in food or water. It grows in the intestines and attacks the nervous system. One victim in 200 suffers permanent paralysis, usually in the legs. 5 to 10% of those victims die when their breathing muscles fail. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report. You can comment on our reports at our website, VOA.
This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. A new online service offers a simple way to let other people know how to say your name correctly. It lets others hear you say it yourself in your email. Today, more people from different cultures work, live, and study together. Some worry that having a difficult name could limit them. Just ask Sheetal Dubey. She and her husband came to the United States from India 7 years ago. She says, Sheetal is a very common Indian name, and in India, people would just know how to pronounce it. But I've been working here in the US for some time, and I realize people find it hard to pronounce. They haven't heard it before. Ms. Dubey was a user experience consultant for technology companies. She now owns a new company called AudioName. She came up with the idea after doing a presentation with someone she worked with. She says, "My colleague was Mary, and it was very easy for everyone in the room to say, you know, Mary's findings showed this. But it's very difficult to say Sheetal's findings showed this. So that's where this idea really stuck in my head. It's like, you know, what if I just have an audio name and, you know, I put it in my email and they have a chance to hear it before they meet me?" Ms. Dubey presented her idea at a business development conference in Portland, Oregon earlier this year. It won the top award at the event called Startup Weekend Portland. The service is free. Ms. Dubey hopes her idea will help make introductions a little easier. People can put a recording of their name in their email signature, their Facebook page, their LinkedIn account, or their website. The Portland Seed Fund chose her idea as one of 126 startups to receive money and mentoring support from experts. Ms. Dubey left her job to start AudioName.com. The site has been live since the middle of September. Marketing specialist Larry Shigoris is the author of The Secret to Getting a Job After College. He advises people with really difficult names to consider using a nickname in their job search. Sheetal Dubé says she heard advice like that while researching her idea. She thinks a service like AudioName offers a better choice. There are also sites like hearnames.com, where people can learn how to say names from around the world. On our site, voaspecialenglish.com, you can find a link to VOA's own pronunciation guide to names in the news. For VOA Special English,
this is the VOA
I'm Alex
Special
Villarreal.
English Technology Report. The Obama administration has announced a plan to protect Internet users in the United States. In February, the administration proposed what it calls a Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights. The bill is meant to give Americans more control over their personal information. President Obama said that never has privacy been more important than today in the age of the Internet, the World Wide Web, and smartphones. Under the Privacy Bill of Rights, Americans would have more control over what personal data companies collect from them and how they use it. It also would require the companies to be more open about their privacy and security policies. Darren Hayes is head of the Computer Information Systems program at Pace University in New York. He says many countries in Europe and Asia already have online privacy laws in place. He called the proposed legislation in the United States long overdue and a step in the right direction. I think that in its present form, it looks very effective. The average online user does need more transparency and more control over the use of their information. Professor Hayes says the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights would hold companies like Facebook and Google to a higher level of responsibility. I think in practical terms, it's going to make online companies more accountable for what they do. It also seeks to provide more transparency about how third parties are sharing their information and give the user, hopefully, the ability to opt out of having their information shared. The new measures are part of a larger government effort to improve online privacy. The administration has urged Congress to pass legislation in support of the measures. It also wants lawmakers to give the Federal Trade Commission and state officials additional powers to enforce them. Professor Hayes says the effectiveness of the bill will depend strongly on that. In a related development, a group of companies that make Internet browsers agreed to support plans for adding Do Not Track technology to their browsers. The group agreed not to use tracking information to target personalized ads to users who do not wish to be identified. The companies will, however, still collect the information. For VOA Special English, I'm Mario Ritter. You can find more stories about privacy and technology at voaspecialenglish.com.
This is the VOA Special English Development Report. World No Tobacco Day is celebrated each year on May 31st. The observance is meant to bring attention to the growing use of tobacco and its deadly effects. The World Health Assembly established the event in 1987. This year, special attention is being given to the harmful effects of tobacco marketing to women and girls. The World Health Organization says tobacco kills nearly 5.5 million people a year, another victim every 6 seconds. Tobacco use is a top cause of deaths worldwide. 1 billion people smoke. More than 80% of tobacco users live in low and middle income countries. The WHO says the tobacco industry has increasingly directed its marketing campaigns at women and girls. Women currently represent about 20% of smokers, but tobacco use among girls is increasing. Data collected from 151 countries show that about 7% of young girls now smoke. That compares with 12% of boys. In some countries, however, the rates are almost equal. Almost 170 countries have signed a treaty called the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. The WHO is calling on those governments to ban tobacco advertising to the fullest extent possible and to do more to protect women. The agreement seeks to reduce the demand and supply of tobacco products. This year marks the 5th anniversary since the treaty went into effect. 80% of the signers have banned the sale of tobacco products to young people. 70% have required health warnings on tobacco products. The WHO estimates that tobacco use caused 100 million deaths in the 20th century. If current rates continue, that number could reach 1 billion in this century. Events were held in a number of countries to mark World No Tobacco Day. Many of the events were aimed at persuading people, especially the young, not to start smoking. Others aimed to educate people about the many health benefits of quitting. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report. We have a link to a list of activities for World No Tobacco Day on our website, voaspecialenglish.com. And while you're there, tell us if you have been able to quit smoking and what advice you might have for others. You can also post comments on Facebook at
This
VOA
is the
Learning
VOA
English.
Special English Development Report. On March 27th at 8:30 at night, all the lights were shut off at the Tokyo Tower in Japan. The Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, Germany went dark. So did the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. The Empire State Building in New York City shut off all its lights. So did buildings in other cities around the world. The lights stayed off for 1 hour for an event called Earth Hour. The observance was organized by a conservation group, the Worldwide Fund for Nature, also known as the World Wildlife Fund. For the 4th year, people were urged to turn off their lights for 1 hour to call attention to the issue of climate change. The group says climate change is one of the greatest threats facing wildlife and nature. The first Earth Hour was held in 2007 in Sydney, Australia. Organizers said more than 2,000 businesses and 2 million people took part. Since then, Earth Hour has grown into an international event. People in more than 4,000 cities in 88 countries took part last year. Organizers said more than 100 countries and territories promised their official support this year. This was the first Earth Hour for countries including Kuwait, Qatar, Kosovo, Madagascar, Nepal, Cambodia, and Panama. At least 19 of the 50 American states took part in the 2010 Earth Hour observance. The event organizers said that one of the last states to join was Missouri. Governor Jay Nixon shut off the lights in the dome of the state Capitol building. He said, when it comes to saving energy and money, big changes start with small steps, like turning out the lights. Did you turn off your lights to observe Earth Hour? Do you think about what the organizers call your environmental footprint and try to reduce harmful effects? Is climate change a concern for you? Here is a chance to practice your English. Go to our website, voaspecialenglish.com. You can comment on this story and other programs. You can share your thoughts and read what other people are saying. You can also find transcripts, MP3s, podcasts, and caption videos. And that's the VOA Special
I'm Alex
English
Villarreal with the
Development Report.
VOA Special English Technology Report. A report by the Consumer Electronics Association says electronics were among the most popular gifts bought this holiday season. It also predicted that spending on these devices would set new records. The CEA said consumers were expected to spend an average of about $230 on electronics. This is 5% more than in 2009 and the highest level since the organization began keeping records of holiday spending. Jim Barry is a spokesman for the Consumer Electronics Association. He said the CEA study found that electronics represented 3 of the top 5 things on its holiday gift wish list in 2010. He said notebook computers are at the top, followed by iPads and then e-readers. iPad is a touchscreen tablet computer, and that's really the big player in that category. The computer company Apple began selling its small touchscreen computers in April. People use the touchscreen computers to surf the web, write emails, watch movies, and read books. Since the iPad's release, several other companies came out with their own tablet computers just in time for Christmas. A report from the eMarketer Research Group predicts that worldwide tablet sales will reach more than 81 million in 2012. Still, Jim Barry says these devices faced tough competition from another Christmas favorite. He said, another hot category right behind that are the e-readers. So you can read on an iPad or a touchscreen tablet, but the e-book readers are less expensive. The Kindle is the market leader there from Amazon. But you also have the Nook from Barnes & Noble and the e-reader from Sony. Jim Barry says modern technology is changing the way people relate and increasing their expectations for their electronic devices. He said, it's really the ability to take your information and entertainment with you just about anywhere, to stay connected to your work and your family. The Consumer Electronics Association report found that iPod music players were also in high demand this holiday season. So were video game systems and digital cameras. But not all of the things on the holiday gift wish list involved electronics. The one thing that people wanted most, Jim Barry said, at the top of the list was peace and happiness. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.